Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the September 24th Finance Committee meeting to order. I'll entertain a motion, guys. Come on. I'll entertain a motion to, guys, let's go. I'll entertain a motion to permit those members not physically present due to personal illness or disability, employment purposes, or business of the board or family or other emergency or unexpected childcare obligations to participate by video conference. I had a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome, Member Covert. And can we have a roll call, please?
Member Cahill, Member Chaplin,
Here.
Member Childress, Member Covert,
Here.
Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, Member Galassi, Member Garcia, Member Dustin, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Ozog, Member Litch, Member Shorzy, Member Torre, Member Yu, Member.
Oh, could please, whoever is, yeah. Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment this morning? No public comment. Yes,
Madam Chair,
yes, Member Dittmer.
Member Childress is driving. Let's find out if he's driving.
Okay. He's on a bus.
I'm sorry, never mind.
Okay.
Well, let's find out for sure.
Hold on a second. Member Childress, are you on a bus? Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. So with that, we'll, I will move to approve the minutes of the finance regular meeting from Tuesday, September 10th. I move to, do I have a second? Member Desart, any corrections or changes to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. We move on to budget transfers. I'll make a motion on 24-25-32 transfer of funds from professional services to IT equipment in the amount of $40,000 to cover expenses purchasing a wide format printer to replace the current printer in the recorder's office. Second by Member Yu. Any discussion on this? All in favor? Opposed, the motion carries. I'll make a motion on 24-2551 transfer of funds from contingencies in the amount of $4,812 to move funds from general fund contingency to county board to cover cost of retrofitting a county clerk elections vehicle. Have a motion, second by Member Garcia. Member Zay seeking recognition. Member Zay, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I don't understand this. Why are we paying for this? I mean, I did get Jeff's memo. Option 3 is for the clerk to transfer that money into that account and they pay for it. I mean, they bought it, right?
Well, it was repairs. Yes, it's their vehicle
Well,
and they did repairs. on it,
right. It
Correct.
wasn't-
Yes.
So if, wait a minute, so if like in the future I have repairs for a stormwater vehicle, I can send the bill to facilities if I wanted to, if I didn't have any money in that line item?
Well, I
mean,
don't.
the clerk should be paying for this. This should be coming out of her budget.
Yeah, and she
not out of
does have the money in the budget. Could somebody come up? I don't know if they have, are there funds in the capital fund for this in their account?
No, there are no funds in the operating account that was on the invoice that was used, and there are no funds in the capital account.
Can they
So
transfer from another line item into the capital?
They could, the auditor reached out, rejected it, and we didn't hear back about doing a budget transfer to do that. So in a perfect world, the clerk would need to do a budget transfer funds from one of their accounts that has money into the capital account. This was for upfitting of a
Right.
van, which
Right.
is actually, it adds to the asset value of that van.
Jeff, I understand your situation, but in a perfect world, it's not a perfect world. This is how we do things here at the county. This is how every department does it. Every countywide does it, except for this office. You know, and we got the memo again from the auditor last week about another 275,000 of unpaid bills. I mean,
We can't.
why
talk
do we
about it.
continue to reward this same office? You know, and I'm tired of getting the memo, you know, if you can believe this, I spent some time, and the state's attorney will laugh, reading the county code in the state of Illinois. You know, there's responsibility, and budget responsibility solely lies with the county board and passing a budget and following a budget. And there are repercussions. I mean, we can have neglect of duty that's in there. All of us could be fined $200, Class B misdemeanor. I mean, again, they talk about their running their office, but we have a responsibility as county board members. And again, the perfect world would be to have them transfer money into this account. Not a perfect world. This is the way we do it. And we're given that right to do that. I mean, the county code, 5 LCS 105-16, to install an adequate system of accounts and financial records in the offices and divisions of the county suitable to the needs of the office and in accordance with general accepted principles of accounting for government bodies. That doesn't seem too out of the ordinary. We're not asking them to do anything different than we're asking every other countywide official, every other county division that we have. I don't understand why we continue to do this. And I understand we're in a tough situation. And I hope the treasurer learns from this, not to let them use our credit card. I mean, just hypothetically, what if your kid just kept charging, spending? At some point, you got to cut them off, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. I understand we don't want to get a bad credit rating or whatever, and we only have one credit card, which is crazy for a county this big. But again, why are we going to do this and take money out of our contingencies to pay something that's theirs? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
So Jeff, just for clarification, so there's no money in their capital account, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so they would have to transfer money from another bucket, let's say, into the capital?
Yes.
Okay, so if they had money in the capital account, could they, would we be able to pay that?
We would have asked them to change the coding on the invoice,
You would ask them
and
to
then it
change
would have been paid.
Okay, so but the county code also says that that we can't really hold payment unless there are insufficient funds in an elected official's account too. Is that correct? The only way that we can stop payment is if there are insufficient funds. That's my understanding too, that we have to pay these elected official bills, whether they do a budget transfer. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, because I thought Barbara Lynn was here and said that nobody could stop payment on those bills. Yeah, can you just get us clarification on that? Or Lisa, because I just want these,
Well, Madam
This-
Chair, how do you send something
well,
forward
I don't know, that's
in
what
an
I'm
account that
asking.
has no money?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
I mean, that's even worse. That
That's
you
what I'm
send
at. Well,
something
they-
forward that you don't have an accounting procedure, that you know you have zero money in that account?
Yeah. Go ahead,
If I can
Lisa.
just clarify, what we were talking about before when this has been discussed, we can't look forward and say, we don't think there will be money they won't have enough money to complete their fiscal year and withhold something based on that. But in this case, there isn't money in the capital fund, so we need to get it from somewhere. So we need the clerk to make the transfer. And the reason why she has to do it is because we don't want to interfere with the internal control for office. So, I mean, we just need her to make that transfer so that this can happen.
Okay, thank you for the clarification on that. So, right, so there, yeah, hang on one second. Hang on one second. So I'm just trying to get clarification. So, like I said, so they would have to do that budget transfer because there's zero in that capital
And
fund.
right, there is no
Okay.
money in that line item.
And then
Okay.
do capital fund transfers have to have 2/3 of the county board approval
They would.
for that? Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so, all right, Member LaPlante, then Member Glassy, Member Evans, did you have a question? Okay, I'll write this all down. So Member LaPlante, Member Glassy, Member Evans, Member Cahill, Member Garcia.
Well, I was just going to say that just couldn't be possible, because otherwise that would negate the whole point of us being here. The reason it's coming before us is because we are the ones who vote and decide if we're going to approve this or not. So I would just like to have the clerk, I'm sure she's on the line. Can she chime in and answer some questions for us?
Is anybody from the clerk's office on? I'm trying to find out from IT. I don't know. They're looking. Okay. Okay, no, we don't have anybody here from the clerk's office.
I'm sure we will for full board. Would you agree? that
I
we'll
have no, I
someone?
don't know. I don't know if they're going to be here.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to try again at full board.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to try again at full board because I'm not going to let this go and I'm not going to give up on getting actual answers from people. This is just how we do business. And this is so out of line with how procedurally, this makes zero sense. So I'm going to be a no vote on this because I cannot in good conscience keep basically throwing good money after bad.
Thank you, Member LaPlante. Okay, Member Evans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I had a friend who said that they bounced a check and asked me for money, and then I said, well, to pay off whatever you bought, all you have to do is transfer some money from your savings account to your checking account. And they said, no, I want you to pay for it. I would say no. So this really does look very similar to a situation like that. If she has money in other accounts, then she should just make that transfer. It's not that hard. So I will be a no vote as well.
Thank you, Member Evans. Member Cahill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That was exactly my point. The point is that she has funds available in another account. She can move that over to get this bill paid. It does not have to be paid out of contingencies. We're talking about more than an issue of paying a bill. I agree, the bill is probably a good bill. It needs to be paid. It's probably necessary. But we're talking about procedures, internal controls, following state laws, compliance. We are a government entity. These are taxpayer dollars. There are specific ways we have to do business here in this county, and this is unacceptable, and I'm a no vote.
Thank you, Member Cahill. Member Glassy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I'm going to reiterate what has already been said, but I just want to make the point that the clerk's office has demanded that they are, function independently. They don't want us getting involved until they need our money. And I love Member Evans' example. They have the money. Why are they asking for us to pay for this? I've been here for almost 2 years. She never comes. She never answers questions. Anytime we have a question for another elected official's office, either they're here or somebody from their office is here to answer questions. We can't get questions answered. It's so frustrating. And we were elected to oversee the taxpayers' money. And this is not acceptable. This is just not, it's simply not acceptable. And I will be a no vote.
Thank you. And did the clerk ask for us to pay for this? I think that's not.
Yeah, I want to clarify that point. So this was a credit card bill we received, insufficient funds in the account that was listed there. She did not ask, or they did not ask for the contingency to pay for it. But because this is different, it's the same, but different from the other invoices because there's penalties and interest. We wanted to put this forward for discussion. And the only option we have to resolve this would be out of contingencies. That's up to the board, whether you guys want to, but she did not ask for the general fund to pay.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. But in that, she needs to pay her bills. That's the bottom line. She used the credit card and she needs to pay her bills. She needs to make the proper budget transfer so that this credit card can be paid, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
And one point I want to make, the vendor has been obviously paid for this because it paid from the credit card company. This is a bill with the credit card company.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, Member Garcia?
Thank you, Chair. This is very frustrating. This shouldn't be done on the board floor. Can I ask really quickly, has finance staff met with the clerk's staff in a meeting instead of bringing it here? Has this been, can I just ask what the procedures have been when you say we've got a bill that has not been paid because you don't have money in the account? Have you met with them and said, okay, we need you to transfer them, or is there just no communication?
No, finance hasn't reached out. We've tried numerous times in the past to do that without any responses. The communication came from the auditor's office and the rejection of the invoice, asking them to do the budget transfer because there wasn't money in the accounts.
So it sounds like there's a complete breakdown of communication between finance, the auditors, the clerk's office. There seems to be something completely broken down.
No, I wouldn't classify that as a breakdown from finance at all. We've tried very
I'm not trying
diligently
to
and
blame
hard.
anyone in this in
Uh,
any way. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on because it's coming to us at the board's level here. And it's like, this should all be done, in-house instead of coming here. It should be all figured out. So I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, honestly, we don't have these issues with other elected departments. But when we ask to do a budget transfer, we work with them to get it done.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Member Garcia. Member Schwarzy?
Thank you. If we paid this today, would we get reimbursed?
That was going to be my question. How does the county get paid back from the general fund?
Well, it's all coming out of the general fund. The county board office that we're proposing to charge is out of the general fund. I don't think that unless there's another budget transfer done by the clerk's office that would get charged to their account without them actually doing that.
So we can't guarantee we would be reimbursed.
What about at the end of the year? Could you clean that up through budget transfers at the end of the year to the?
I'd have to, that would have to be done again through a budget transfer.
Through a
We'd
budget
have to go
transfer.
to the board. Yeah.
In order to have the clerk pay, reimburse or pay, they have to approve it because we do not have the board does not have the statutory authority to reach into their budget and pull money out without their approval.
Thank you, Nick. Member Guston?
And thank you, Madam Chair. A point of clarification. So if we don't approve this, then it is going to be the responsibility of the clerk's office to identify where they're going to find the money to pay this bill with late fees or not late
Yep.
fees. Is that what I'm understanding? So
Yep.
it wouldn't be coming out of the general fund. It would be coming out of the clerk's account.
So I think that's a good discussion point. So if this is not approved today, and that's a decision of the board, then obviously this credit card bill will not be paid. Because we have no avenue, no mechanism to pay it. So we will have a credit card bill that is the treasurer's single credit card that will not be paid. And, obviously when you don't pay a credit card, you have penalties and interest. And that's why this was a timely issue that we wanted to bring. The due date for this credit card bill is today. And so that's why we want to bring it before this board for the discussion today.
Can I ask one other question? So this credit card, we have one for the county, I guess. Is there a possibility of limiting certain departments on the use of that credit card? Or is that a legal situation where everybody can use it? Can we limit, who can use it, that type of thing? And I'm assuming directors within that department or whomever they authorize
I
are the
think this-
people. But if there's a whole department that we're worried about their finances, can we not have them on the charge cards to be a user? I guess is.
The state's attorney will answer that. Thank you, Barb.
The treasurer has discretion with her credit card. She's also an elected official.
And
So
does
we cannot direct her.
So the treasurer has the authority. Does she take a recommendation from the county board members if that's so
I
inclined?
can't speak for another
So-
elected official.
If I could just add, there aren't authorized users, so to speak, that you were referring to. So it is the treasurer's discretion on who utilizes that card.
Thank you, Member Guston. Member you and then Member Eckhoff. Member
Just-
you?
Just a quick question. When was this purchase made on this credit card?
Yeah, I think, and the bill was signed off by the clerk, correct? She okay to have it paid?
Looking at the receipt, looks like it was the invoice, maybe 7/31. I mean, around that point. I'm not sure when the actual, but what we're seeing, I'm seeing a date of 7/31/2024 on this. And this was brought to our attention within the last 2 weeks, once the credit card bill was received. So obviously you have, since it was paid on a credit card,
Right. So we have to pay the issue today is the vendor's been paid, but now we have to pay the credit card company. So if we don't pay the credit card company, then there's interest and penalties. And it is our only credit card. So we're kind of in a, yeah, so Member Zay and then Member Desart. Oh, I'm sorry, Member Eckhoff. I'm sorry, Member Eckhoff. Go ahead.
Let me just read something. The clerk must follow the laws of the state of Illinois, including but not limited to the policies established by the county for the management and payment of the clerk's budgeted expenditures pursuant to the system of accounting established by the county. The clerk refuses to comply with the county's policies as she will not complete budget transfers when necessary, will not provide copies of contracts, service agreements, blah, blah, blah. This isn't a book I read or anything. This is 24 MR 547 that was filed by the state's attorney's office against the clerk's office a few weeks ago. It's very clear what our position is, what it should be, that she's not following the rules. The state's attorney stands on that. There's a count 1 to the complaint. I wish that few people would report on this and make this count 2. I mean, if she's going to continue to do this, we got a pending lawsuit. Let's make it a count 2 and let's bring it in front of the judge. I looked up the case yesterday. She had hired an attorney to come in as a private attorney and to try and file some motions or do something. That attorney withdrew last week. That's my understanding. There's not a status hearing on this case until December. So I'd like to know where the chief judge is in appointing somebody. She's reached out so that we can get the case moving.
Can I clarify the procedural aspect of the case? So
Sure.
the chief judge is in the process of trying to find counsel to represent the clerk in this matter. It's the motion that was withdrawn. An attorney filed on behalf of the clerk to be appointed. And
Right.
that motion was withdrawn because it didn't meet it.
Voluntarily, the
process.
attorney withdrew it
Yes, it was,
because he knew he didn't have a basis to
well,
stand.
it has to, there's a process and his motion was not.
And so where's the
appropriate.
chief judge in getting an attorney? Because this got
By
filed
statute, she
3
has to-
weeks ago.
By statute, she has to reach out to the state's attorney, appellate prosecutor. She reaches out to the attorney general, and then she's awaiting responses from those people. Then the next level will be local state's attorney's office. So she's in the process of getting appointed
Yeah,
counsel.
I don't understand what in the process means because this got filed September 4th.
Well, she's reached out. I know she's received a couple
Okay,
people,
but
couple entities that
does
will
it have
not
to
take
be
the
done in
case.
30 days, 60 days? If she calls, hello, I need you to come in and take a case, do they get a week to think about it and then get back to us? I mean, this thing needs to be expedited and moved on. And the chief judge, I hope, I know she's a good judge and good administrator. I'm sure she's working on it, but it needs to get done. We need
she
to get
absolutely
into
is.
court and then bring some type of an emergency motion saying, hey, judge, they've got an attorney now. Here's a problem we have. Rule on it. It's the law. I mean, this isn't like a big factual case that I see. It's a judge, read the law, bring a motion for summary judgment or something like that and let the judge rule. But right now we've got a status date of December 2 and we're waiting on the chief judge and we've waited 3 weeks. And I don't want to be here at the end of October and find out that, the phone calls haven't been returned and we're still not moving on this because the clerk is going to keep doing this and sticking their finger in our eye to get everything going. And then we're going to come in here and let's hear the history of this case for the last year. I think we all know what's going on. And to think that our staff hasn't worked their tail off trying to get the clerk's office to do what they're supposed to be doing is a little ridiculous. This isn't a situation in the middle of a vacuum. It's been going on for months, years, and we need to do everything that we can to get it over with. And we need to do everything to focus the spotlight on the clerk's office that they're not doing their job. Other than that, I have nothing to say.
Thank you, Member Eckhoff. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know everybody's frustrated here and I know there was conversation about keeping this in-house. But I can see the frustration in our staff and the state's attorney and the auditor. The auditor sent that letter and we did get a response back from the chief deputy clerk. But if anybody wanted to keep it in-house, do you notice who was also copied on the response? 2 reporters from the Daily Herald. So if anybody wants to keep that in-house, it's not us, it's them. They want to make this a big issue. I don't understand why. I mean, again, I'll pay the 4812 and charge you guys interest in, in the old days. What's that called? The VIG? Is that what it is? I mean, we can do it the old way. But again, 18%, yeah. But again, where do we go from here? Is this gonna happen? Now, remember, we had talked to state's attorney and everything else, and we said we projected they were gonna run out of money in their budget coming in the fall. Well, it's the fall now. That's why I'm wearing darker colors, because it's the fall. And is this gonna happen now? Are we gonna start getting transfers for payroll because they can't meet their salaries? They can't do everything else? This is just, I think, the tip of the iceberg that's coming down the line here for the next several months.
I don't
think the clerk's gonna fall behind, well, I have to run a fair election. I have to do this, and they're gonna paint us into a corner. Like we said 4 or 5 months ago, this was gonna happen.
Jeff, could you come up and talk about the budget in the clerk's office? How are their funds right now? And do you see them falling short by the end of the year in any of their,
Right now, the clerk and the election division are meeting budget. Nothing's over budget in the total departments. However, there is an election coming up, so they will incur a lot of expenses. And so at this point, we're not sure where they will end.
okay, but were those expenses budgeted? I mean, we
They were.
budgeted for them,
Yes.
right? So, okay, all right, thank you. Yes, okay, so I have member LaPlante, the member Garcia. Oh, I'm sorry, member to start.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have a challenge and we're looking for a solution. So this is for our staff, Jeff and Nick. What are your recommendations as our staff? What are our options? And then is there a vehicle through which we can force the office to repay us into this contingency fund? So 2 questions, your recommendations as our staff, and then is there an option to put this money, to make sure this money gets replaced into our fund? Thank you.
So why don't we go through maybe what are the options in front of you? I guess first option is we don't approve this, and then we have a credit card bill that's not paid. We have penalties and interest. The clerk does, we don't pay it. The clerk does a budget transfer. We're 2 weeks late doing it. Not that big of a deal, maybe a little bit of interest on that. We go ahead and pay it, and the question is, once you pay it, there's no mechanism we have to claw that money back unless if it's voluntarily given. So there's really no good options here. And that's the reason why this is the same as the other invoices, but different. And that's why it's in front of you. It's timely. It's a credit card bill. We know there's penalty and interest. That's why it's here in front of you. And we don't know if this is the only solution that we had to solve this, so we don't incur penalties and interest that is at our disposal. And that's why this option is in front of you. We don't know of another viable option unless if we have a partnership to solve it.
Thank you, Nick. So, the bigger question is that, we read what's in our packets and we live this one board meeting every 2 weeks, but you guys live this every day.
Mhm.
Do you have, as our employee, a specific recommendation?
The only option that's available to you right now, don't pay it or pay it with this budget transfer. There's no other option available. And so there's consequences for both, obviously. So obviously from our standpoint, you're never going to get staff saying, take the penalties and interest. This is our only option that we have to pay this bill and not incur penalties and interest. That's why we have it in front of you. We will never recommend something that has penalties and interest, but that is a decision that this board has to make.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Thank you, member to start. Okay, so let me read who I have here to talk. I have member LaPlante, member Garcia, member Cahill, member Rutledge, member Galassi, and member Guston. Okay, so member LaPlante.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think by the amount of questions that are being asked and amount of concerns that so many board members have, I would like to have more information. If we can have some type of briefing, and I don't mind where we do it. We are a public body, so I do believe it's really important to air these things publicly. That's the whole point of being a public servant. But I just think there's clearly a lapse between the board, those of us and we're voting on this, and what's happening here with the clerk. And I would like more information and to have an easier insight into what is going on. We understand some of this is now a matter for the courts, but I do believe we should be briefed a bit more because this is just taking up so much of our time and energy. And this is where we need a lot more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Member LaPlante. Member Garcia.
Quick question for either Nick or Jeff. If this is not paid for, if we vote against this, does this have any effect on our finance rating? I mean, I know it's just one late bill, but I don't know whether we're really proud of our really high.
Yeah,
finance rating.
I'm very proud of the
Yeah.
AAA. Will a single bill like this make a difference? Probably not, but at the end of the day, it's a credit card bill. Credit card companies like to get paid, and if you don't get paid, typically what they do is they cancel the credit card. So,
And that's our only credit card.
that's our only credit card for the county.
Okay, that's what I need to know. Thank you.
Okay, so Member Cahill, you're next.
Thank you. I'm glad you asked that question, Member Garcia, because my point is that it is a bigger issue for the financial statements in terms of the management letter comment that was issued by Baker Tilly. They said in that letter comment that the clerk's office was not in compliance with state law. Okay, it wasn't affecting directly the materiality of the financial statement at this time, but it was a concern that they had. This problem here, I wish and urge my fellow board members to just think about it from an accounting standpoint and put aside all the political and all the feelings inside and do the right thing, which is to not pay this bill, to urge the clerk to make her own transfer and pay her own bill and not pay it out of the general fund of the taxpayer dollars. I know it may cost some interest and penalty, but she needs to pay this out of her fund. That is the right thing to do. Setting aside all other issues and politics, the right thing is for her to pay this bill.
Thank you, Member Cahill. Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Chaplin. I have actually a couple of different questions. My first question is there a rolling balance on this credit card account, or is this the only charge on that currently?
That might be a question for the treasurer, Gwen Henry, but I think this is the only charge on it. And typically how the charges work, when the credit card is used by various departments, they are responsible for
Okay.
that charge.
They're paying it
What
off
they're-
as they use
Well,
it.
absolutely. It is paid
Okay.
off every single cycle.
Okay, that's right.
But every department, if there's 3 charges, then all 3 of them then have to pay their balance. And that's just how it's worked.
Okay,
I don't know if this is the only charge this month.
so this really strikes me a lot as we're approving a contract that started August 1st. So, this is after the fact. And I guess the way I look at this too, that if there were money in the proper account for the clerk, would this even be before us based on her behavior?
I mean, this bill came into the clerk. She did not deny paying the bill. She absolutely approved it because it was a service that they received, but she booked it to an account that had insufficient money,
Right.
and the account that she booked to was improper. It should have been capital. So she's not saying I'm not going to pay it. She's saying that, I mean, what she booked it to, we can't charge it to. We physically can't because there's no money in it and it's not proper to book it to it.
Well, and I understand all of that, but the point I'm trying to make is that procurement has not been her strong suit. So again, if there was funds in the proper account for this to be paid, we would have never known about
You
this
would have
anyway.
never seen it. If she had proper funds in there and it was booked, it would be like any other of the thousands of invoices that go through this county. This board would have never seen it.
But should we have? I
Should
mean,
you?
well, if we're approving spending here, then those items should have come along with the procurement for the election supplies, things like that. that
These,
are
all the
still
bills are on the
outstanding.
bills list that does come here. And so, I mean, the bills list, you see it, but as far as purchases within, especially in EO's office, once they have the budget, they have the ability to make those purchases. But they have to book it to the correct expenditure in order for us to pay it. So that's the breakdown. This bill came in, it was approved by the clerk. The auditor said, okay, that's great,
Got the right
services
funds.
received, but there's no way to pay this. And so we're in a catch-22. We can't reach into her budget and pull money out to pay it. We have to have a specific line to pay it from. So our only option at this point is two options: don't pay it or pay it out of general. Those are only two options that are available to us right now.
Okay, and again, the only point I'm making is that this has been a messy road with finances through this particular elected office. So, thank you.
So just for clarification, so I know we changed some budget policies last 2023. So, right, with the line item budgets within the bucket, we have now to do transfers, but we hadn't had that prior to 2023. If I'm correct, right?
Our financial policies.
Yes.
It's always been at the line item level. We call it an object code, which is the account number, the object level.
Okay, so, all right, so they coded it to the wrong general ledger number, the wrong item.
Right.
Okay. And that item, that line that they coded it to has no money, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, and then, but that was not a capital line, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so they had no money in that line item and they had no money in the capital item, in the capital account. Okay, but they do have the funds in their budget to cover this.
In the entire division
Yes.
right now.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay, now I have member Galassi, then I have member Guston, member Zay, member Schwarzy, and member Evans, and then we're gonna probably wrap it up. Okay, member Galassi, go ahead,
Thank you,
please.
Madam Chair. So just a couple of points of clarification, Jeff. You have reached out numerous times to ask them to make the proper budget transfer to get this bill paid, and they are not responsive.
To get this bill paid, no, but prior to this,
The auditors asked to
auditors,
fix it
finance, this has
for
been
this
going on.
particular bill.
The auditors did for this.
The auditors
particular
did, and they just have not responded.
bill. Correct.
One additional question, did they present a 2025 budget?
No, we reached out to them. They asked them if they'd like to meet with staff, as traditionally we do with other departments, and we didn't hear back on that.
Every time an invoice is not recommended for payment from the auditor's office, accounts payable reaches out to the department asking that a budget transfer gets prepared or whatever was not recommended, the reason why AP will reach out to the department asking for a correction. And there was no response. No, there was a response, and that was a response that went to the entire board.
So, but Jeff, they did submit a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did submit their budget, but they didn't.
For 25?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you, member Glassy. Member Guston? Okay, I just want to get, yeah, guys, I'm just saying, you know what? This board is here to discuss, and I think this is an important issue. So I'm going to let a few more questions go, and then we will call it. As Member LaPlante said, we're here to do this in open session. There's a lot of questions. We do have a little bit of time, so we're not, I really don't like discouraging discussion in my committee
One
meetings.
quick question though. As far as the charge card goes, I know on a personal charge card, if there's a charge on there that is not something that is correct, you want to question it or whatever, and then you don't pay it, and then the charge card company will hold it until the dispute is cleared up. Is that something, and I'm assuming you can't because the services were provided,
The charges.
so we can't dispute it through the
Charges.
charge card. The only thing basically is if the treasurer will take that department off of that card, then they can't use it in the future to have any future problems like this that we're going to take a lot of time talking about. So I wonder if that's a possibility, something for in the future to ask the treasurer. if the board is in agreement with that. Or does every department get to use the charge card?
No, it's my understanding, I mean, the treasurer will give permission to utilize the card. It's not that these cards are sitting in, the department's possession to use or not use.
But the
So-
usernames on the card, there's only certain people that can use the card, and they might be from one department or another.
That's how it's set up. I mean, the charge card, the single charge card we had, I think is, I mean, it's possessed by in the treasurer's office. There's no users on it because what the treasurer does is if you ask for it, department asks for it, then they are given the card. All of the bills, a single bill goes to the treasurer, but there's no authorized users. It's simply,
Oh,
you
so
know,
it's the treasurer's card, basically.
yeah, that's
Okay.
where it
So there's
it
no
lies.
department user heads on it
No,
or anything. It's
absolutely
only the
not.
treasurer.
Every
And so
single,
they can dictate how
every
it's used.
every single usage of that, you have to go to the treasurer's office and say, I need the card for this travel or this. And so every single time.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm gonna, Member Tornatori, he had some questions.
Yeah,
He hasn't had a chance to speak yet.
Putting aside the absurdity of the discussion that we're having, because I think we've spent more than $4,800 in taxpayer money in the discussion with the salaries that we all get. I don't know how we can not pay this bill. I'd like to do the right thing that Member Cahill said, but we talked about if your kid had a credit card, let's look at it like this. If this was my kid and they were using the credit card and they didn't pay it, I could try to put put a line in the sand and say, I'm not going to pay the bill. But I think any of us who are parents here know what we do. We pay the damn bill because we're not going to screw up our credit rating. I mean, and then we'll deal with our child in whatever way we have to. And I think that's the only way we can do this. We have to pay this bill. Otherwise, the county's not good for their word.
That's right.
And like it or not, it's the DuPage County clerk. So I'm as frustrated as anybody. I'm as angry as anybody. But we have to figure out how to solve the problem with our clerk. And not paying the bill, I don't think is the way to do it. So I'm going to vote to pay it, not because I like what I'm doing. Believe me, I'm holding my nose to do this, but I don't see how we can not pay it.
Thank you, Member Tornatori. I don't think the vendors or the credit card companies should be the ones that are taking the hit on these things. So I appreciate your comments on that. Thank you. Member Zay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It has to be paid today. Jeff, we set up such a tedious process to do budget transfers. How much time would it take for the clerk to do a budget transfer?
5
2
minutes.
hours, 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, and I don't think us not paying a $4,800 credit card is going to jeopardize our AAA bond rating. And most credit card companies, they charge you a late penalty. I'm sure we'll get a small charge on a late penalty. But again, where do we go on this? This is a 5-minute budget transfer that they refuse to do. They don't respond to us. They don't do anything else. It's $4,800 tomorrow. What if it's 25,000 next week? What if it's 100,000 next week? We have 275,000 in unpaid bills that the auditor sent us last week. I mean, where do we go here?
Well,
We're just off with everything else.
So here's the thing. So how long do we let this bill go before it's not paid? Because I don't know if a budget
They will
transfer is
get
going to
paid.
do it.
They will get paid.
I don't know if a
The-
budget,
the-
if
they
they're
will
going to
get
do the
paid.
budget
The
transfer.
credit card company will get paid. We're just gonna get charged interest on it, which we'll have to take out of the clerk's budget.
Thank you, Member Zay. Member Schwarzy?
Thank you. The penalty really isn't to anybody but the taxpayers. I mean, whatever minor interest that is accumulated, that's the penalty to our taxpayers with the interest cost. So I'm going to vote to pay this bill and ask the clerk to transfer and reimburse us.
Thank you, Member Schwarzy. Member Evans, and then Member Garcia, and then I think we're going to wrap it up. Oh, and then Member Eckhoff, and then we're going to wrap it up. Okay, Member Evans, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is a matter of just bad bookkeeping. It can be easily fixed in 5 minutes. If we pay this, we're setting a bad precedent. What's to say that she doesn't charge something else and we pay it again? I would not bail out my kid, by the way. If my daughter didn't have the money, but didn't want to pay her credit card bill, but she had the money in her savings account. And I said, move it over into your checking and pay it off. And there's still other leverage that I have over my daughter. So I'm just saying that there are options. The clerk can pay this bill and she can pay the interest and the penalties. One late payment won't kill us. We really need to send, in my opinion, we need to send a message that she needs to do some good bookkeeping, clean up her books, pay her bills, and we need to stop enabling this kind of behavior.
Thank you, Member Evans. Member Garcia?
Thank you. One last comment. Thank you, Member Tornatori, for your comments. I think we have spent more than that enough. I'm going to be a yes vote on this because I'm going to hold my nose because I'm very upset about this. I don't think that this is where we should be in terms of dealing with this. I don't like that the deputy clerk is sending out information per members to the newspapers. I don't think that's something they should be doing. Question for the state's attorney. The legal case, and I know that we can only talk so much about it, but it is dealing with this specific information in terms of not.
I'll let Lisa Smith
Okay.
answer.
The legal system is going to be dealing with this specific.
The issue of budget transfers and payment. Yes.
So that is going to be directly figured out in the legal system.
That's the subject of the lawsuit.
The lawsuit.
That's right.
Correct. So I'm going to vote yes on this. I'm going to assume the legal system is going to take care of it, but not happily. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Garcia. Member Eckhoff to close.
Two things. Number one, I would like a response where we are with the chief judge. Hopefully we can get somebody appointed for the clerk in the next week or two. Can somebody explain to me what this invoice is for? And for what, how old the vehicle is that was upgraded or whatever?
That's an easy question. This is a new vehicle that the office purchased, and this is the upfitting charges to outfit the vehicle, how they need it to, a lot of the different departments do that when they get a vehicle, they might need, depending on what their usage, like our electrical vehicles are upfitted, and this is the upfitting charges in order to make it more useful to their specific.
So we've done that with other vehicles.
Yeah, there's nothing abnormal about this charge.
I just saw it at the top, line one, it said 2015 Transit, it's not a 2015 vehicle. I saw on line one, it says 2015 Transit. I thought maybe it was a 2015 vehicle.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure which vehicle it is. I think it's it's probably, I know it's a brand new vehicle they got, and typically that's when you do the upfitting is the second you take delivery, then you move right to the upfitting. So that would make sense. Maybe they have received a 2015 and then they just received it. This was the upfitting. I'm not sure. It's purchased last year. I don't know why it says 2015
Right.
then.
Well, if we can just get a report about the chief judge's appointment next time, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will take a roll call, please.
Member Chaplin,
Aye.
Member Childress,
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
yes. Member Covert,
Aye.
Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, Member Galassi. No. Member Garcia,
Aye.
Member Guston, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Ozog, Member Rutledge, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu,
Aye.
and Member Zay, and Member Cahill.
It's 2/3, yes. So 8 voting aye, 8 voting nay, and 2 absent, so the motion fails. Okay, we move on to budget transfers. I'll move on 24, 25, 52 budget transfers, 9, 24, 24 various companies and accounting units, A motion by member Guston, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. We move on to procurement. In member Krajewski's absence, member Zay, would you mind taking this?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Move on 24-2557, recommendation for approval of a blanket purchase order to Driftwood Hospitality Management for direct billing of hotel stay county employees on county business for a credit limit not to exceed $15,000.
I have a motion by member Zay, a second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam
Member
Chair.
Zay?
I move on 24-2558, recommendation approval of blanket purchase order issued to Candlewood Suites for direct billing of hotel stay of county employees on county business for a credit limit not to extend $15,000.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Zay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIP 18-24, approval of a purchase order issued to Nugent Consulting Group to provide risk management consulting services for Finance Department from October 1st, 2024 through November 30th, 2025, contract not to exceed $65,000.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Zay. We move on to development and member Tornatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of DCC 01-24 change order to the county contract 4673-0001 issued to Acela Inc. for contract increase of $4,354.20, resulting in an amended contract total of $969,863.99, an increase of 0.45%.
Motion by member Tornatori. Was that second by member Guston? Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Tornatori. Move on to human services, member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on HSP 3124, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Prairie Farms Dairy Inc. for fluid dairy for the DuPage Care Center residents, cafeteria and cafes located on county campus for the period September 25th, 24 through September 24th, 25, for a contract not to exceed $53,000.
Have a motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 3224, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to McMahon Food Corporation for fluid dairy for the DuPage Care Center residents, cafeteria and cafes located on the county campus for the period September 25th, 24 through September 24th, 25, for a contract not to exceed $30,000.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 3324, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Senior Medical Care PLLC to provide medical director services for the period September 1st, 24 through August 31st, 25, for an amount not to exceed $48,000.
Motion by member Schwarzy, second by member Guston. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Schwarzy. We move on to judicial and public safety, member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move to approve JPSP 0025-24, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Tower Direct for the purchase of an antenna hut concrete shelter for the sheriff's office for the period of September 24th, 2024 through September 23rd, 2025, for contract total not to exceed $59,750.
Motion by member Evans, second by member Cahill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Evans. We move on to public works and member Garcia.
Thank you, Chair. I make a motion to approve FMR 000424, recommendation for the approval of an agreement between the County of DuPage, Illinois, and Administrative Office of the Illinois Courts for lease of space of the Henry J. Hyde Judicial Office Facility for the Mandatory Arbitration Center for the 18th Judicial Circuit for Facilities Management for the 4-year period of December 1st, 2024 through November 30th, 2028. Total rental fee to be collected over the term of the lease shall be $201,528.60.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FMR 000524, intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the State of Illinois, acting by its Department of Central Management Services on behalf of the Department of Veterans Affairs for the lease of space at the Jack T. Knuffer Administration Building for facilities management for the 4-year period of December 1st, 2024 through November 30th, 2028 for an annual amount not to exceed $1.
Motion by member Garcia, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Garcia. We move on to stormwater and member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I moved combined items 7F1 through 7F7. These are all decrease in closeouts for ARPA projects that came in under budget or canceled.
Okay, I have a motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia to combine items 1 through 7 under stormwater. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member Zay, please continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on 24-2429, City of Darien, decrease in closeout $72,638.11. Move on 24-2430, City of Darien, decrease in closeout the amount of $12,146.06. Move on 24-2431, Village of Lisle, decrease in closeout $37,999.95. Move on 24-2432, Village of Addison, decrease in closeout $200,000. Move on 24-2519, Milton Township, decrease in close $111,670. Move on 24-2523, Naperville Township, decrease in closeout $45,000. And I move on 24-2524, Naperville Township, decrease in closeout $95,000.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you,
member
Madam Chair.
Zay. We move on to transportation. In member Ozag's absence, I'll call on member Tornatori.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of 24-2433 DTR 27A-24, an amendment to resolution DTR 27-24, an intergovernmental agreement for transfer of jurisdiction of CH1 River Road from Warrenville Road to Ferry Road and CH32 Warrenville Road from Winfield Road to River Road, except for the Warrenville Road Bridge over the West Branch of the DuPage River, and clarifying the ownership and maintenance responsibilities over certain multi-use.
A motion by member Tornatori, second by member Yu. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Tornatori.
Madam Chair, I move approval of DTP 47-24, a recommendation for the approval of the contract to LRS Holdings LLC, doing business as Lakeshore Recycling Systems LLC for solid waste disposal services as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $55,000, subject to 3 one-year renewals for bid 24-97-2.
Motion by member Tornatori, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Tornatori.
Madam Chair, move approval of DTR 35-24, an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for planning for the development of the DuPage County Active Transportation Plan. The county be reimbursed $118,792.
Motion by member Tornatori, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Member Tornatori.
Madam Chair, move approval of DTR 36-24, an intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning for transportation activities in support of the regional ONT 02050 plan. County to be reimbursed $28,564.30.
Motion by member Tornatori, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, member Tornatori.
Madam Chair.
Okay, we move on to finance resolutions. I'll call member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 154-24, acceptance of the Public Defender Funding Agreement, the amount of $113,114.75.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Member
Thank
Zay.
you, Madam Chair, I move on FIR 162-24, acceptance and appropriation of the Aging Case Coordination Unit Fund, the amount of $7,713,844.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 164-24, acceptance and appropriation of Illinois Home Weatherization Assistance Program, DOE grant, intergovernmental agreement, the amount of $734,681.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 165-24, additional appropriation for Animal Services Fund, the amount of $4,500,000.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Desart. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 163-24, authorization of memorandum of understanding between the County of DuPage and Operating Engineers Local 399.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Guston. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 166-24, correction of Scrivener's error in resolution FIR 155-24.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 168-24, approval of a grant agreement with Choose DuPage and manages the Connect DuPage Supplier Diversity Program, ARPA interest.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Galassi. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIR 172-24, approval amendment to the grant agreement between the County of DuPage and DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for the Hotel Assistance Program.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Guston, or member LaPlante. Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on FIO 5-24, determining the compensation of the DuPage County Public Defender.
Motion by member Zay, second by member Garcia. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Oh, thank you, member Zay, but we're going to move on to information. I'll just call on you again, member Zay.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to receive and place on file A, payment of claims, B, wire transfers, C, appointments, and D, grant proposal notifications.
Have a motion by member Zay and a second by member Yu to receive and place on file items A, B, C, and D under informational. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Okay. We move on to old business. I have some old business. Does anybody have any old business? Okay. Oh, member Desart, go ahead, please.
Hard to see me back here.
Yeah, it is.
I'm putting this under old business because it's about history. One of the real treasures here in DuPage County is the DuPage Historical Museum, and we've got a couple of major fundraisers coming up. I've put the information by each of your seats. We've got Hoptoberfest coming up this Saturday. It's going to be wonderful. And if you're like me and you're not a beer drinker, you could pay a little bit less to get in and be a designated driver. So that's coming up this Saturday. You're welcome. I will drive you home, members Ed. Another wonderful event coming up, and this is for November 7th, is an evening with Jeffrey Bayer. And Jeffrey is a producer, a storyteller on PBS. So this looks like it's going to be a wonderful event. And again, I put these cards by each of your places so that hopefully you can help support the DuPage Historical Museum. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, member Desart. So I just wanted to give the committee a little update on our Ceridian, which is our new payroll system. There has been a delay in the rollout once again. We were supposed to go live in October. That's not going to be happening. HR will be sending out a memo to the elected officials and the departments, notifying them of the delay. So I hope, that eventually we'll be able to get the system up and running. We've spent a lot of money on the system and a lot of money on, consultants to help us with this. So, but we should be hearing more on that. Maybe we could get an update from the committee next week on our next finance meeting on what exactly is going on. Because
A little bit of update now, if you want to. I will tell you the delay. We are obviously the most important thing out there is making sure all of our employees are paid every 2 weeks on time without delay. And that was my biggest thing as part of it. If there's any questions on that, we were going to delay until we're ready. And I mean, it's moving forward. Obviously, it is very, very complicated. The good thing is our system is working fine. And we are not going to transition to the new system until we are absolutely sure everything is perfect. It's too much at risk with 2,300 employees. It's got to be perfect. And so we'll take, whether it's 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, we'll take whatever it takes to make sure it's perfect. But we have an extremely complicated system with all of our, different bargaining units, all the different pay scales. So we're making sure, and I don't know, Chris, if you wanted to add anything to
Yeah,
that?
along with that, we're also moving away from Kronos from several different departments and moving what that is done into the payroll system. So that we have found has taken a little more time, vetting, validating, going back, making sure that what is needed is the outcome is coming out. So we are pushing hard to make sure what we're seeing. And on the finance side too, all our splits for general ledger and everything is mapped properly. So there is a lot of pieces, a lot of different things we're validating, and we want to make sure what the outcome is correct and accurate.
Our biggest thing is we do not want a failed launch. And so we, like I said, we have a system that's working well right now. The new system will be much, much stronger, more powerful, but we are not going to launch it till we get a go from every department. I know that there's a very critical report over in a care center that we're still working through some of those details. So it could be a couple months.
Great, thank you both so much. Do we have anything under new business? Okay, seeing none. Without objection, we're adjourned.